Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining me. My name's Campbell. This is Autodidactic, and today we have a special interview. We're going to talk with Matt Black, and Matt has been diagnosed with D.I.D, dissociative identity disorder. And because of this, he has had many interesting experiences, and so he wants to basically tell us his story of how his life goes and how he lives and deals with D.I.D. So I think you'll find this very interesting. It was a very good chat. So let's jump in and have a listen. Hello and welcome. My name's Campbell. This is Autodidactic Channel. Thank you for being here. And today we've got another chat and a bit different. We're chatting with Matt, and we're basically going to talk about his life and his experience and what he sort of is dealing with. So I'll let him explain that more because I probably am bad at it. So welcome, Matt. Thank you for being here.
No worries. How you going, Campbell?
Good. And we do have Tyrone in the background who might jump in at some point. We'll see how we go. But yeah, man, let's jump straight into it. I mean, you're one of my subs and you contacted me through Facebook, and I see a lot of your posts, and you're obviously a very creative, an almost driven kind of person. I see, you're doing lots of running and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, do you just want to start, I guess, explain a bit of your story, what it is you're dealing with, maybe, a bit of how that came to be, and yeah, sort of let us know, who Matt is.
Well, yeah, I mean, I got on to you. I mean, I love your chat. I love the content that you put out, and same with Kelly.
Cheers.
But yeah, I kind of reached out to you guys because she wanted to, well, kind of get someone that went beyond these realms. So you got your mediums and whatnot and your clairvoyance, but whether they're real or not is another story.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not taking anyone's experiences away from them either. So I got diagnosed, one, with trophy child syndrome. So if you imagine those little girls that are up on stage and like their mothers are dressing them up as adults and they're doing the pageants.
Yep.
I had that with my father in a footballing sense.
Okay.
So, like, both my mother and father's side are football royalty.
Okay.
And I was the next one that was supposed to come through. So I got my ass handed to me time and time again if I didn't perform.
Okay.
So my conditions came about through being abused as a child.
Yep.
Which isn't the best way of getting the abilities. So from that, I got dissociation identity disorder. So you got the flight, fight, or freeze response.
Yep.
So as a child, I couldn't fight a grown man, obviously.
Yep.
But I had to freeze. When you freeze, there's only so much you can take. Then you disassociate from that abuse, and that's the way you deal with it. So I've had this since I was like 4 or 5 years old.
Okay.
And I didn't know. Like, I knew that I was left of center, and other people knew that I was kind of left of center, but I didn't realize to the extent of what was going on. Mm-hmm. And from there, I got diagnosed with complex PTSD, which, yeah, the complex part is the part I don't understand, which goes into the disassociation part, which, when you're in it, like, I'm starting to understand it a bit better, but when you're in it and it's right in front of you, you can't see it either.
Okay.
So that kind of leads me down to the way my life went, that way instead of mainstream,
Yep.
My parents just wanted me to be that, that normal person, work in the family business and, become an alcoholic because you don't like your life, you don't like your job, all that type of stuff. But I was just too creative. I just you know, I quit playing football because it was just too much pressure. And this is in my teenage years. And yeah, when I said that, I had to actually save myself. So when I was 14, I had to when I was 14, I said, "No, enough's enough. I'm not playing football anymore." But I had to keep playing until I was 17, because the old man was just becoming more and more abusive. And so I had to play to kind of like save my own ass in that sense. Yeah. And then when I left, like about 15, 16, I started surfing.
Yep. Cool.
So I went into that kind of lifestyle. And then I just continued with my art. I just art. And then, yeah, when I was about 17, 18, like I picked up the didgeridoo.
Cool.
And my friend had a didgeridoo, and he said, "Look, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole on how to teach you with like circular breathing, etc." But within about 10 minutes, I was circular breathing playing the didgeridoo.
Wow.
And he just went, "Well, what's that all about?" I said, "I don't know. I don't get this. This is part of going down the rabbit hole." And later on, I found out it was a past life. I've got that experience from a past life.
Okay.
So I've met, I think, 4 or 5 of my past lives already. I've interacted with them. And the past life lived in Coral Bay, like he was an Aboriginal.
Yeah.
On the West Coast, Western Australia. And so I've gone over there, astro-travelled over there and met him and all this type of stuff.
Wow. And is this stuff that you just do naturally, or was this like under regression or something? Or was this just something you did?
No, it's just, this is the disassociation.
So
this is the association part of it.
And so that basically means that you're disassociating from your current persona, if we want to call it that.
Yeah, it's like I drop out of this 3-dimensional realm.
Oh.
I astro travel or remote view. I've remote viewed.
Okay.
And then that can happen for like 2 or 3 hours. I do this.
Wow.
So I'm kind of like in a meditative state, and I just balls trip. That's the best part. But I mean, like I've got a tattoo, like I do my own tattoos and all that. So that's the DMT structure.
Yep.
That's the best way I can explain it to people. It's like I'm having a DMT trip, a naturally induced DMT trip to get my abilities, but it was caused through childhood abuse, which is once again not the best way of getting these abilities.
No. So it's all trauma based that's made you split, but sounds like somewhere along the line, you're accessing other realms, which is through the DMT, I guess, which is we've all got inside us, right? So,
well, I mean, I reached out to you guys. Did I say this? See, this is where I'm starting to shift a bit.
Okay.
Because I reached out to you guys because you were about autodidactic, which is like self-learning and self-teaching.
Yes.
So I come back from these realms and I kind of got the abilities to do stuff.
So, have you heard of a guy called Bert Goldman?
No.
He does this stuff and he calls it what does he call it? Quantum jumping. And he says that he's like found a process where he's inducing himself and he's going to alternate versions of himself.
Yeah, I jump
learn skills from them and bring them back.
Yeah, well, that's what I do.
So that sounds very similar, yeah.
So I will sit there and, well, the greatest example I've got is I've never built a drum kit in my life.
Man, that drum kit.
I'll turn the camera around when I just explain this.
Yeah.
Sarah wanted to play drums, my main altar, the 3-year-old girl. And I dabbled on the drum kit, but just on the I mean, I'm mainly a guitarist, so these are all the guitars I make.
Wow, you made cool.
Yeah. So Sarah I said, look, okay, we'll give it a go. But I went into a different realm, a different mindset, right? And I'd studied this drum kit for maybe 3 months before I started building it, just inside my head.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, that's got to be like that. That's got to be like that. That angle's got to be on there. I never drew this drum kit. Wow. And then over the 3 to 4 month period, like I get tunnel vision. I get fixated on things with my projects.
Yeah.
And that's all I'll do, is all consuming. But it can be overwhelming for me. And then it kind of floors me.
Yeah.
But yeah, within about a 3-4 month period, I had this drum kit built, and it was all out of Western red cedar from demolition sites. Like the timber alone's worth $2,000, let alone the build.
Yeah.
But then I've got another altar. He's Octorian man, so he's from the Octorian system. And he's planted himself in me. I'm apparently a star seed from my Reiki healer.
Okay, yeah.
He's seen all this happen, but I'll show you the drum kit first.
Yep. Yeah, man, this drum kit.
He did all the markings on it.
Oh, okay.
So that's all 24 karat gold leaf as well, all the yellow markings. Oh, sorry.
And that whole kit it's 100% wood, apart from the symbols and skins, obviously, but the whole kit's wood.
It's Western red cedar.
Western red cedar.
Yeah, I'll give you the. So this is the Octorian man.
So, okay.
He's come down through a pyramid and then he jumped into me from a crescent moon.
Wow.
He did all those markings when I was disassociated.
Okay. So when you when you do things like that, like are you conscious of doing it, or do you sort of like phase out and then come back and you see what's been done?
Yeah, the second.
Wow. So it's almost like another consciousness is taking over your vehicle for a bit, and you're somewhere else.
I've stepped out and gone balls tripping. I've gone, interdimensionally. And like when it starts to happen, I'll see the walls melt.
Yeah, wow.
And then I'll go through a portal and then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going. And then bang, I'm gone.
And do you have any memories of what you're doing up through that tunnel?
Yeah, I'm kind of glad to be out of this realm. It's like,
yeah, well, I
I'm
don't
just
blame
relaxing.
You.
It's like I'm basking in the sun.
Okay.
It's like I'm just going, oh my God, this feels so good and peaceful out here. Oh. And then I come back, however long it's been. It could be, 20 minutes or 2 hours. And then things like that are done. And I asked Sarah, I said, how did you, like, she built the rack of toms.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, how did you build that? And she just starts laughing, going, we're here to help you.
Wow. That's crazy. So you're obviously very creative as Matt as well. Like all the guitars behind you, are you building those consciously?
Yeah, I started building those consciously, but I never built a drum kit. I was like, well, so my altars are tapping into my real life skills and they're using it for themselves.
Because she wanted the drums.
And she wanted the drums. I'm like, oh, I don't know how this works, but fucking here we go.
Wow, man.
But there was one occasion, I don't know if you can see that. Hang on. There's a big scar down.
Yeah, the scar, yeah.
So I had to start wearing like cut-proof gloves because Sarah, the 3-year-old, was playing with chisels and just went accidentally stabbed me down with a chisel.
Yeah, right.
And I'm really good with like blood and whatever else. But it was the first time she's experienced pain and the first time she's seen blood. And I've come in here to like inside to fix it up, and she's fainted.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, I've woken up as myself, going, hang on, I'm not too bad with blood in this. And then she's like, oh, she started freaking out.
So, okay, so Sarah, like, can you sort of more communicate with Sarah? Because with Arcturian Man, you were saying more like when he comes in, you go somewhere. Like, so have you got more of a relationship with Sarah, like, as far as you can communicate with her, kind of thing, or?
So Sarah's my main altar. See, this is where I go down the rabbit hole, and this is where I don't understand it. I'll put a link in here. Hopefully, there's a doctor's version of how to explain D.I.D. in a technical sense, in a medical sense. So from what I've been taught, Sarah is my main altar.
Yeah.
Right. And she's like the conduit to all the other altars and myself.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So I'll communicate with her, and then if it doesn't get through to another altar, she'll relay the message, and vice versa.
Wow.
So Charlie is another altar. I've got little altars too. So I've got children altars and adult altars, and they play different roles. So Charlie, she can't really speak, and she's got braces, but she'll send the message to Sarah. Oh, and Sarah will tell me. Yeah. Sorry, I'm starting.
Yeah, you're right, mate.
Yeah. Are we on TV?
Yes.
Podcast. Oh. You're Cambell Privacy Man.
Yes. Sarah.
Yeah. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Wow, you talk about rocks and stuff and big buildings.
Yes, I do.
Matt likes to do and we like to do sculptures.
Yes, I heard you built some drums.
Yeah, we like to play the drums a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun. Do you play the drums?
I only play hand drums, like djembes and things, not a drum kit.
Oh,
but I like drums.
Fun.
Yeah. I've also got a didgeridoo, so I do like those sounds.
Matt plays the didgeridoo.
I know.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Anything you want to in your trees?
Pardon? Trees?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, lots of trees.
Do you have pigs in there?
Yes, we've got 2 pigs.
You got pigs?
We've got chickens and we've got a horse.
We really like pigs.
Yeah, the pigs are cool. Pigs are very nice.
Wow. That's our piggy. We draw piggies. That's our piggy. Wow. That's Matt's book.
Okay, yes, he sent me a copy, yeah.
Yeah. And we draw piggies.
Nice.
Yeah. Where's our piggy? We don't know.
You don't know?
That's one of Matt's paintings.
That's a painting? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Matt's got a photographic memory.
Yes.
And he drew that one. He's the Aborigine that he drew. He painted.
Wow. Gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So Matt's your friend, is he?
Yeah, we got to help him because he's got to stay down here for a bit longer.
Okay, so where are you then? Like when you're not talking to Matt?
We go to the other realms.
Other realms? The realms outside of this one?
Yeah. We were going to be born to Matt's mum, but she didn't want to go.
Oh.
and Matt was a boy. And so Matt came down instead of me because his mum wanted a Michelle, and I wasn't a Michelle, I was a Sarah. And she said to Matt that you should have been a girl all his life and didn't like him. Yeah.
Wow. So Matt's taken your position, and that's what, like down here, and that's why you're working through him. Is that to get work done that you're supposed to get done, is it?
Yeah, Matt doesn't want to be down here for too much longer. He doesn't like it anymore.
Well, it's a very strange place down here.
Yeah. And we have to help him get through it.
So are you here to help him cope and get through it, or are you here to help him do something while he's down here?
Both. We have to. There's some of us that help him with his head, and then there's others that give him ideas and stuff for his paintings and his drum kits.
Yes.
And we gave him the idea for the drum kit. Did you know that?
Yes, he told me. Yeah, he told me that you built the toms on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Wow. We've got a big speaker in front of us.
Yes. We're going to record this and we're going to put it up so people can see you.
That's Shadow Girl's bass guitar.
Who's Shadow Girl?
She's another friend of ours.
Another friend. So are all these friends where you are? Are they all in other realms? Like, do
they
you
come and
see?
go.
They come and go?
Matt knows about them all. They come and go.
Okay.
Wow. And that's Vampire Man's guitar.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're very cool guitars, aren't they?
Wow.
Hang on.
What's going on? In a minute. Sarah just popped in to say good day.
All right.
Yep. You like a glass of water?
Hang on.
Anything?
Oh, you're good.
How long have I been gone for? Sorry.
Oh, just a few minutes, mate. All good. We had a bit of a chat with Sarah.
Yeah. Okay.
You're out later if you want to chop that in or out.
Oh, no, it's all right.
Up to you.
Oh, Campbell can do it. This will
Yep.
Oh man, this is where my vision goes.
Yeah. It must be interesting. Like, so do you come back feeling like you don't know where you are, kind of thing? Like coming out of a dream, kind of thing?
It's like everything moves now. Like everything's like floating in front of me.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting, right? I mean, everything's energy, so it's interesting when you say things melt and move. It just sort of shows that this isn't really physical reality, right?
Yeah. I'm just trying to settle myself. I get tired.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
Mad. I get really mad headaches. Like I feel like there's a big rod of lightning going from there to the back of my head.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Brain.
This is after the alts come in.
Yeah. And then that was the other thing my psych talked about. So I noticed that Shadow Girl she really fools me.
Okay.
She's a 27-year-old female altar.
Yeah, that's for the green guitar. You made her the green guitar.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And I said, why does Shadow Girl fool me? She just absolutely fools me. I said this to the psych. He goes, she's actually physically trying to change the chemistry in your brain to become a female.
Oh, wow.
I was like, what? Is that an actual thing? Is that possible? She's like, yeah, for people like you, it is.
Wow.
I was like, what? He's like, yeah.
So do you find that all of these alts are good, like they're for your benefit, or like do you think like is that a like she's trying to change you? Like do you think that yeah, there's sort of good and not so good alts, or
Well, yeah, I've got 3 that aren't. And I thought Vampire Man. Vampire Man and Sarah were the 2 main alts that came through initially.
yeah,
And I thought Vampire Man was the real nasty, real bad one. Because he was just really just
yeah,
and Sarah found out through him that no, he's here to help. He was the energy that I should have had as a child
yeah,
to fight off my father.
yeah,
But, being a 8, 12, 14-year-old, you just can't do it.
no, of course not.
So he's actually one of the good ones. He's like a protector.
Yeah,
So you know how we're talking about roles again. He's a protector.
okay,
Octorian Man is where I eat. Octorian Man is kind of the place I go to when I disassociate.
okay, yep. So he's like another realm, kind of. Yeah,
Yeah. Shadow Girl is kind of like a fun version of me in my 20s, but female version.
okay,
Because I've missed out on a lot of my life. I've missed out on a lot of my childhood. I've missed out on a lot of my teenage years, a lot of my 20s. Because I developed chronic fatigue when I was about 18 or 19.
wow, okay,
So I was like, once again, I was floored for 7, 8 years.
oh,
I couldn't get out of bed for like 3 days. And I was homeless during this time, living in the back of a combi.
oh my god,
So, yeah, I kind of go back to my younger years. And this is part of my alters doing catch up.
okay,
It's like you missed out on so much of your 20s and your teens and your childhood because you're in what is it? You're basically living on the edge. You're just always in that fear mode of when's the next beating coming around.
yeah.
So, and the fact that I got trophy child syndrome, like I didn't figure out why I got chronic fatigue. And I was like, then when my psych said, you got trophy child syndrome, you were burnt out. Your father drove you into the ground so hard that you're burnt out as an 18-year-old. Like you'd had enough. Like your whole body and your mental, your brain just shut down.
Yeah, makes sense.
And it shut down for 7, 8 years. Yeah.
Wow, man.
And it was through that because I was doing like I'd sleep for like 2 or 3 days straight. And I remember I was like, man, I just used to just trip balls and go into realms, but I was disassociating. I didn't realize how hard I was disassociating throughout just sleeping, and I couldn't come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it was more like you were out traveling around rather than you were asleep. You were out doing other stuff kind of thing, but it
Yeah.
manifested as chronic fatigue.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And okay, so like, do you feel like you're like a conduit for these alts to experience? Like, is it because you mentioned Sarah said that? Well, when I spoke to Sarah, she said that she was supposed to be your sister, but she wasn't a Michelle. Is that right? So
I don't think sister. I think she was supposed to. I think I was supposed to. My mother wanted a girl.
wanted a girl, yeah. So she was
Sarah
supposed
didn't
to
want.
be okay. She was supposed to be you, basically.
Yeah, she was
Okay.
supposed to be me. So
So is she coming back to experience the bits, like to experience what she needed to experience because she couldn't do it physically? Is she doing that through you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, these are the questions. When I go down the rabbit hole, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. That's kind of what it's sounding like. Is these are
Yeah.
different, like different.
My Reiki
consciousness.
healers.
Mm.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say they sound like different consciousnesses that are trying to get experience that they kind of got robbed of because they couldn't incarnate, so they're kind of using your vehicle to get some of those experiences.
Yes, that's probably a good description of it. And then my Reiki healer says similar. And then she said, "You have to let them all go, Matt." And I'm like, I don't think you understand the role of D.I.D. Like, because I unalived myself as well when I was about 23, 24.
Okay.
So, which is kind of, I've been struggling with that again. And I said to my Reiki healer, because I said, you don't understand how much help I need, because the physical beings down here, one, don't get it, two, are too busy, and three, they just, I said, I'm actually searching for help from interdimensional beings, and they're coming down to help me. I said, I need this help. I don't understand. And she's like, no, you have to let them go so they're on their own journey. I said, but what if this is their journey, to come down and help someone like me? And that was Vampire Man's role.
Yeah.
I asked Sarah, I said, why is he here for? And he's got a mad story, because he's an altar of another altar. So I've got an altar called Shay Anvia.
Okay.
And he's a green man. He's like the green man phenomenon.
Yeah.
So you got Jack and the Beanstalk, you got elves, you got Robin Hood. They're kind of like the green men.
Yep.
So Shay Anvia is in that realm, like the druids and all that. Yep. And he got lost in the woods and went into this cave, and then the bad things got him, and he turned into a vampire man.
Ah.
And for about 900 years, he just slayed people. And so he got stuck between realms, and my spirit guide said to him, you have to help as many people now as you hurt. So he's stuck between realms for thousands of years trying to help people to,
redeem himself.
Even the lector.
Yeah, wow. Okay. So ultimately you see these alts as a good thing, as a benefit, like they're at least helping you cope.
There's 3 of them that aren't.
Okay, right.
So there's one called Squamby, and he's a shapeshifter. And he's the one that wants to unalive myself again.
Okay. Yep.
So I have to be careful of him. Yeah. And then there's another one that's hiding in the background too.
It's so, I mean, do you think that what you're experiencing is a lot more widespread than we're told? Because obviously, with the whole mental health sort of, it's tied very closely to pharmaceuticals, isn't it? Which is really, I mean, they're blocking all this stuff happening, sort of sedating people. So do you think there's more of that going on, but we're just not seeing it because these people are being sedated or whatever?
I think what's happening is that, so I've got generational abuse too, which is going on. Okay. So I'm going to go back to like about 4 generations now. So what the oligarchs and the higher ups did.
Yep.
Like we started, call it 150 years ago, we started becoming conscious again, if you will, as a global human thing. And then they're like, okay, we need to start scrambling their brains. So what do they put in? You had the French Revolution, you had World War One. Okay, so they pitted us against each other.
Trauma and vision, yeah.
Scrambled everyone's consciousness, and and it gets handed down to the kids and then the grandkids. Yeah. World War II come about, and then the baby boomer generation come about.
Yeah.
Right. And so my father and all that, they're just like the five senses, and if it's not in front of you, then it's not real.
Yeah.
And now Gen X come along, and we started to wake up again, right? And so they know what's going on, and so now they're putting a lot of distractions in front of us with these devices and internet and video games and highly sexualized society, all that type of stuff. And now they're doing the pharmaceuticals as well. So now they're trying to dumb us down again. But people like you and me are starting to see through all the crap again and going, nah, that ain't right. And there's a lot more of us now because of the internet are sharing information. So now, it's becoming global, the information sharing. So yeah, they're really trying to pull the wool over our eyes again.
Definitely. So I mean, because all the wars and stuff are basically, it's like trauma-based stuff, right? MK Ultra and all this kind of stuff, which is obviously that's what your experience was too with your father. Like they like to fracture our consciousness, don't they?
Well, my brain is broken. Like that's what my psych said. He said your brain, it's like having a repeated break in your bones. He said you've got massive scars in your brain, but each altar is a box. They're all compartmentalized. And the way my brain works, instead of like normal people going from there to get access to whatever information, I got to go around. And while I go around, I'm learning other things.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Because I got like talking about like Blavatsky and Billy Carson. See, they're the left-brained geniuses.
Yeah.
So Blavatsky was downloading and writing down, like I've written it down here, like the Tibetan Buddhist canon. She'd never seen it, and there's 150 volumes.
Oh.
And then later on, this dude come along and said, "Oh, that's a really good translation of the Tibetan Buddhist canon. Like, who did this?"
Yeah, right.
And later on, it turned out to be like a really, really good translation. She was just downloading it, just going, "I don't know where this is coming from." Just started writing, and so she's the left-brained, and so is Billy Carson. And you got the mathematical genius; they're all left-brained, but I'm the right-brained. So I'll see things, and then I've got to make them, and I've got to like, I play all instruments. I've got to write them down. Like I've got to play. I just got to get them out.
Yeah, right.
And all my drawings, all my paintings, like I'll see like the Aboriginal elder. Like I was seeing him. I'll call it the dream time. I was seeing him in the dream time realm for about 3 months. I went around town. I said, "Who's this Aboriginal elder? I've got to. What's going on?" And then there was an art show up here, and I kind of went, "Oh," and he just pointed me out. He goes, "You." And I went, "Yeah, okay, yeah, you're that Aboriginal dude." He goes, "I've been watching you." I said, "Yeah, I've been watching you too." And we got along like a house on fire. Like it was really cool. And then I said, "I've got to do a painting of you, mate." And yeah, sure enough, did that painting.
Wow.
But that's me accessing that part of my brain because my brain is fragmented.
Yeah, so yeah, it's like you said, you've got to go the back streets kind of, and along that way, getting all this information that most people don't because they're just going the same routes all the time.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, isn't it? So it's like the fracturing and the damage is giving you the gift, this kind of thing. It's like that paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My blessing's my curse, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's interesting. Like, because when you were talking about Blavatsky, like, like that sounds like an old, right? Do you reckon that would have been like her going into like? We have this thing of, they say, oh, people go into trance, and they write songs and stuff, right? Do you think that's the same kind of thing that you're going through?
Yeah, it's the same thing, but I've got that do it as themselves, like they're like they're still themselves, but they've just got access to that knowledge.
To the higher, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. People got that, but I've got alters too that can do it. I'm like, fuck, hang on.
Yeah, okay. So you've got all the stuff you can bring in, but then you've got all these alts bringing in random stuff that they want, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Jeez,
Yeah.
you must have a very busy. So like, I mean, probably a hard question to answer, but like, so what's it like being Matt? I mean, what's because obviously your reality is kind of a lot different to how we would perceive reality. Like, do you see yourself as Matt, or do you see yourself as a collection of consciousnesses, or how does that work? Or do you just see yourself as a vehicle, maybe, or?
I'm primarily Matt, but I lose time. That was the other thing I said to my psych. I said, I just lose time, mate. I said, I don't know what's going on. I said, I'm losing grip on reality. I thought he was going to send me to the funny farm. I really did. He just kind of laughed and said, nah, dude. Like, he's just fascinated by my brain. He goes, it's unfortunate how you got it, but you're like, there's all these brain structures. Got schizophrenia, you got autism, D.I.D. You got the Aboriginal shaman, the Indigenous shaman.
Yeah.
They're the people that can see the plant that can heal you. Then you got the left-brained genius, like the mathematical genius, and then you got the right-brained one, the artistic genius. So it's really rare to have one of those in the circle. He said, you got two. He said, you're off the scales with, what's going on inside your brain. And getting back to your question, I see myself as Matt, but the others will look into this realm and stand back and I'll point out, that's wrong, that's cool, let's go over here and do this. And so I've kind of self-isolated myself because I'll have a chat like this to people. They either get too fascinated with me and then I go down the rabbit hole, which I don't want to do, and start switching up, or they just don't get it. And I just can't relate to a lot of people. Like, there's a lot of normies out there, the 9-to-5ers, and I just go, I can't relate. I'm just going to go over here now. Like,
Well, I mean, your reality is different realms, right? And consciousnesses that can sort of enter different realms and different bodies and that. I mean, that for the normie, that's like not even, a possibility, is it? So, I mean, it doesn't. So, I mean, how did you escape getting medicated? Like, has that come close? Because, I mean, most doctors, right, they just want the money. They'd see you and they'd be like, oh, yeah, he's a good customer.
Well, I got really, really lucky in the sense that, I mean, I've been seeing psychs and, been in and out of hospital since I was like 18.
Yep.
With my mental health issues, and most of them just put it down to anxiety, depression, and just chuck you on antidepressants and whatever. Yeah. And I got sick of it. I got sick of the merry-go-round. I said, look, it's not working. So I started doing my exercising. So I'd run and so that helps the depression. 2, the psych I got now is phenomenal. Like, he said, no, you don't need any drugs. You've just been mistreated as a child. If it was schizophrenia, they would medicate you. D.I.D is different. They're similar, but they're different. Because my condition used to be called multiple personality disorder.
Yeah.
And schizophrenia is slightly different. And it's the way it's been brought into you. Schizophrenic, more genetic.
Okay.
D.I.D is abuse related.
All right. So is your condition all to do with the abuse? Like no sort of Were you born with anything? I mean, you sort of said you were a bit left of center, but you were born essentially normal.
Yeah.
Normal, right? This is all come about through your childhood, basically.
Yeah, it's come about through the abuse, the freeze response, and then the disassociation from that.
Do you ever remember asking for help at any point? Like, did you actually, because you were saying, you froze and you hit that point, like, did you actually say, help, and then someone came in, or?
At the time, because this is where it's going to get hard for me to talk about.
Yeah, no, you don't have to answer everything if you don't want to.
I got sexually abused too at the same age.
Okay.
By, family members. So this is where I figured out where Sarah's role was. And I've only just figured this out the last year or so. Because I'll have massive flashbacks. I'm going, what is going on? Why do I remember this now? My psych said, because you blocked it out for so many years. This is like another reason why the alters have stepped in, is because it's so traumatic that they've taken the memories and go, okay, we can just release a little bit when you're ready.
Okay.
But Sarah, I have obviously asked for help when I was a 3-year-old because of the sexual abuse, and that's when Sarah has stepped in and gone, okay, this is enough. And so she took on the abuse.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I've gone, and I've only just figured this out in the last 2 years. I've gone,
okay, wow.
And this is where your reality and your mental scaffolding just collapses in on itself. You're going, what is real? I don't understand what real is anymore. Yeah.
That's a good question, right? What is reality? We're all sort of asking that, but you're actually experiencing the different realities, so it must be, yeah. I mean,
but in saying that, consciously I asked for help. This is where the baby boomers, I'm really dark on the baby boomers, because some of them get it, like the hippies get it, the baby boomer hippies get it, but most of them don't. So I asked for help when I was 14 years old by my mother. Well, I asked my mother, and she goes, oh, you'll be right. Stop whinging. Just play football. You'll be fucking right. Rah, rah, rah. I was like, okay. So I caught more abuse. And then I went to an uncle and auntie. And my uncle was an ex-cop, and my auntie was a nurse. So in their professional field, they had a duty of care.
Okay.
I said to him, this is what's happening. And they went, no, you'll be right. So they would rather save face with my abusers than to help a child getting abused.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yes.
Yeah. I can't even imagine what that would be like.
Yeah, I'm just so, yeah. I said, my life could have been different if you had done something. But no. She'll be right, mate. She'll be right.
She'll be right. Yeah, don't worry. Great man, mate.
And the whole, men don't cry, bloody, that was my whole upbringing.
Yeah, well, I mean, Australia was very much like that in the 70s and 80s, wasn't it? So it's, and if you had a problem, you just went to the pub and got pissed, right? And forgot about it.
What my old man did. And then, he used to drive home blind drunk with us in the back of the ute.
Right, yeah.
It's just like
crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. So what do you think about all this experience? Like, do you think that this is something that your bigger, higher soul or whatever it needs to experience? Yeah, how do you sort of, and it's probably a hard question, but how do you sort of, make sense of this reality? Do you think it's something that, because we get this story of, we choose to come here, right? So we learn lessons kind of thing. So, yeah, how do you sort of approach that?
It's a multi-pronged question. Oh, wow. Like, we're down here for experiences, yeah. But as my Reiki healer has said, like, you're here, like, the Octorian man has come down here to plant seeds in you. You're a starseed. You're here to actually teach and, kind of allow others to learn from you. And like, she did a Reiki healing on me, and she was like, how spiritual are you? I went, what? She goes, I've never ever felt or learnt so much from one person that I have from you in that experience. I was like, what?
Wow.
I was like, really? She goes, you are just, you're on fire, man. I was like, what? And she goes, Tibetan monks can't even get to where your level of consciousness. Like, people want to be Buddhists and that, and they just can't do it because they just don't have it. I'm like, really? I said, I don't get this. The thing is, I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's like, that's probably the reason why you're so kind of on fire. You're so kind of good at it, because you're not trying. You just let it in. You're open to it.
Open to it, yeah, man.
Whereas a lot of these woke people are trying too hard.
Yeah, it's true.
And you hear what they talk. This is where I hear like podcasts on these woke, 20-year-old female that is so woke, and I've got my thing going on because of this, and this. I said, you're kind of missing the point. And like, for all these years, I haven't known what's going on, and this D.I.D and trophy child syndrome diagnosis has just given me so many answers. And yeah, wow. A lot of it's good, but some of it's scary. It's like, oh my God. Oh, really?
Yeah, I can imagine, man. I mean, wow.
So it's definitely a journey thing. Like, I know, like, I have a feeling, I can't be 100% certain, but I have a feeling my next life is going to be with the Octorian man in their star system. Okay. And with their kind of race.
Yep.
Yeah.
Be more fun. Do you get, because we saw the symbols from Octorian man, do you get any like information? Like, is he bringing through stuff to you? Like, are you learning anything from him, or? Because he sort of takes over, doesn't he? Is that right? He takes over. You don't remember when he's here, and he does stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more realizations. It's like, I had a realization with, like, I do a lot of TikTok lives.
Okay.
Raw. And
okay, cool.
So I do a heap of drawings and just do like TikTok lives. And there's a chick over in Western Australia, and she's like, something happened. I must have drawn a crescent or something, and I switched out. And I said, I drew something. And anyway, I said, I think you switched up there for a while. I was like, yeah, I felt really weird. Like, I felt, And then we got talking about altars, and I said, I felt like it was the Octorian man, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And I said to her, I said, look outside, is there a crescent moon? And she looked outside, and she goes, yeah. Yeah, it must have been him.
And,
yeah, he comes down through the crescent moon.
He comes through the crescent. So does that mean that, like, does he only come through when there's a crescent moon?
Apparently.
Well? So yeah, okay. So only a couple sort of windows a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And it's only like when it's like fully shining.
Yeah, right. So that's it's like a portal or something.
See, this is where I don't understand it. Like, this is where like these esoteric speakers and these light workers, they can shed a lot more information on it.
Yeah.
And I go to, like, there's a chick on YouTube, Gigi Young. She's an esoteric talker.
Yep. No, Gigi.
And so I'm learning from her about my condition and what's happening to me, because stuff's happening. I'm going, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I'm actually tapping into their knowledge about what's happening to me, because I'm just like, I don't know,
Well, there's not many answers down here, especially from the mainstream, right? They want to tell you that it's all made up in your head and all this kind of stuff and all this weirdness. And so, you have to go out. But at the other, there is all this knowledge, right, out there of other realms and dimensions and spirituality, but definitely not promoted. Yeah, man, so you brought in the wrong time, right? Because that sometimes, this spiritual thing, it was big. So it must be, yeah, like you keep saying, hard to sort of put it all together as a picture. Because I mean, because you're literally living in, by the sounds of it, in different realms through
Yeah,
lifetime,
yeah,
and it's not so much a choice, right? It's just sort of happening as it happens.
yeah. It's organic. Like it's not like I don't take any drugs.
Yeah.
Like people want my condition because it's like they want the DMT trip, they want that ayahuasca experience. I'm like, oh man, fucking.
I don't know if you do, yeah.
And I'm like Sarah likes driving, so I've watched myself from outside the vehicle. Watch Sarah drive the car. I'm like, oh my god, what's going on?
That's crazy. I mean, it puts a lot of credence though to the spiritual sort of teachings that we're just souls, right? That come in and inhabit these bodies. It's not physical, and at the end we leave. But you're just having this come and go at yeah, randomly. Have I frozen? Have I frozen? Oh gosh.
A bit the same.
Sorry, I think I just froze again then.
Yeah, you did.
Yep. Cool. Wow. Okay. Yeah, man, I've got so many questions. I mean, maybe we should have another chat sometime if you're into it. And I could even, do you know JCK?
No, I don't think so. No.
She's like a spiritual type person. I don't know.
See, even like your talk with Evan and Stephen Strong, like
Yeah.
I just laugh. I was like, I've watched that so many times. I'm like, man, every snippet of information, and that's my past life. I'm just so into like that stuff. Time. Like I have so much problem with time. Like I've got another alter that's a time traveler, George, and he's taught me how the time thing works. How you slip in and out of time, and you can travel to the future and travel like back in time and all this stuff. I haven't got a grasp on that yet. He did describe it to me. It's written in my book. It's written in my book there.
I haven't. Yeah. We'll put links up for all this stuff below too.
Yeah.
Send me all the links.
So my book's linked in my website. So go to my website and get my book, and there's all my paintings and drawings and my guitars up there. It's Matt, MATTESS, black.com.
Nice. Awesome. And we'll put all the links below. And yeah, man. Well, thank you heaps for your time and for being so open about it all and getting your story out, because this is the thing. I mean, I think it'll be helpful for a lot of people. There's obviously a lot of people going through maybe not the same thing, but maybe have some similar things.
That's what it was. I knew I was leading to somewhere.
Okay.
So my condition and talking about it is to help other people have the courage to come forward and get help with whatever they're going through. Like, don't self-diagnose. There's a lot of people, those woke 25-year-old females that are self-diagnosing. If you are having trouble with whatever it is, don't have to be this, whatever you're going through, please seek professional advice and help.
Yeah.
So hopefully that leads, even if it's just one person, to go, okay, I want to get the courage to seek help,
Then I guess don't be afraid, to tell your story and be real, and cause that's the only way you can fix a problem, right? Is when you know what it is, or when you can work on it. So, very, very good advice. Thanks again for your time.
Too easy.
Awesome, man. All right, awesome. Well, yeah, I'll talk soon. Thanks heaps. Hope the headache goes quickly, and I'll be in touch, man. And thanks heaps for your time.
No worries. Thanks, mate.
Great to meet you and talk to you finally.
Yeah, mate.
Yep, cheers. See you, Matt.